I want to thank you very much, Lee. He was assassinated because he lived bravely, he led boldly, and he argued brilliantly without apology. He did what was right for our nation. And so on that terrible day, September 10th, 2025, our greatest evangelist for American liberty became immortal. He's a martyr now for American freedom. I know I speak for everyone here today when I say that none of us will ever forget Charlie Kirk, and neither.
And that's
now
totally
will
fine,
history.
DCK. Ooh-ha.
Because while Charlie has been reunited with his Creator in heaven, his voice on earth will echo through the generations, and his name will live forever in the eternal chronicle of America's greatest patriots. He will live forever. To Charlie's incredible and beautiful widow, Erica, we know the weight of this monumental loss is almost unbearable. But even in the midst of heartache and pain too great to even fathom, you have somehow found the strength and deep faith to be a comfort to millions and millions of people. And thank you very much, Erica. Thank you very much. Today, an entire nation wraps it.
We having trouble here
In the White House about autism, how it happens, so we won't let it happen anymore.
Oh, good.
And
Autism
how to
mentioned.
get at least somewhat better when you have it, so that parents can help their child, their beautiful child. That's a big one. I've been bugging everybody over there, get the answer to that. You know, 20 years ago, 1 in 10,000 were born with autism.
What the fuck is he talking about?
The most recent survey says 1 in 12. How bad is that? That's for young boys, baby boys, but also girls, a little bit better. It's about 1 in 20, but we can't.
You mentioned unionizing.
Really wrong.
Everyone in a non-union
We think
workplace
we
should
know what
try
that
it.
is.
It takes hard face-to-face convos, but it is so worth it and everyone benefits.
I'll ever have, and I look
It
so
brings people
forward to
left
it.
too.
True, Abyssalisk.
And you know who else looked forward to it? Because he knew. I'd tell him a little bit about what was going on.
Did Donald
Charlie,
Trump
he would
forget
have been front row center.
what event he was at?
We'll be missing him tomorrow. It was such a big deal for him, too. He brought together Donald Trump, Bobby Kennedy, right here in the great state of Arizona 1 year ago. Remember that? What a night, what a day that was. And it was Charlie who was among the first to speak to me about a man from Ohio by the name of J.D. Vance. Have you ever heard of him? He's doing a good job.
Most mentally sharp president
Charlie
we've
would
ever had.
often call me, sometimes the night before a big event, the other side of the country. And it'd ask me, it'd say, do you think you could come and speak at the event? The following day, right? I'd say, Charlie, I'm the president of the United States. You want me to travel 4 hours by plane? And you know, sometimes I did it. He was a very good guy. He was a very convincing guy. He didn't stop, but he would ask for things like that. Sir, could you be tomorrow in California? I said, Charlie, give me a break, please. He just wouldn't stop. And he
Do
succeeded.
you guys see the new ballroom? Look at all the trucks.
Went because you never wanted to let Charlie down.
And
He
suddenly
worked so hard. You
100,000
just
voices
didn't want to let
cried
him
out
down.
in
I felt
unison.
guilty.
What the make America **** is he talking about?
Indeed.
He'd make me feel very guilty.
Thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs.
As president, many people asked me for things, but Charlie was one of the few who always gave more than he took. He was a giver, much more than a taker.
Are you allowed to say that at a funeral? Oh my god. Holy fuck, what the hell, man?
The difference between the energy he didn't have for the pre-canned thoughtful pablum and his freestyle riffing is insane.
It is really wild. You could see the moment he clicked into just like going off script, and he's just like, oh god.
Honestly, this whole section with Trump
no matter
has been so wild. We started out with him getting his own song and fireworks. Now a rambling eulogy that makes no sense. It is so disrespectful, it's wild.
Really, it really is.
Big Charlie became, no one was too small for him to notice. He was good to everybody, didn't matter. Several years ago, a 4th grader asked Charlie to appear on his podcast, which was probably only watched by the parents of that 4th grader. And Charlie,
thanks, Jolene,
who was
loves
actually
burritos.
Pretty hot at the time, to be honest, he agreed, and the boy asked for advice. Charlie replied, the left. I call it the radical left. I call it sometimes the radical left lunatics. But Charlie didn't say that. He called it the left. He was probably right, but I can't help it. I can't help it. So he said the left,
very low energy.
Left lunatics may have all the money in the world, but they can never outwork me. I will wake up as early as I need to about himself. I will stay up as late as I need to, and I will never stop fighting for our country. And he did this until his dying breath. That's what he was
He's so
doing.
zesty.
That's what he was doing.
Just the zestiest.
Wow.
Wow. Have you guys heard about the ballroom?
Moment. I was in the Oval Office when I heard they came in, and it was like a surreal experience, a terrible. I had some very big people in the Oval Office.
They were at least 8 feet tall.
And I was in the midst of a very important conversation for our country. Big people, the biggest.
9 feet tall even.
And I said, you have to leave now. When they told me that, they told me in front of a group of very powerful people. I said, you have to leave now, right now, please.
9 feet tall,
right
just built like trains.
You have to leave, go. By his own determination and skill, Charlie Kirk built Turning Point from his humble beginnings, the beginnings that nobody believed could ever end up something like this, into a great movement and a juggernaut of American politics. And you know, we have a massive stadium loaded up with people.
Came from humble beginnings. So, you know, when they started, who could ever imagine something like this? Just humble beginnings, I'm telling you.
But he got tremendous crowds before he had this kind of horrible news and before we had to hear what happened so terribly. He delivered more than 250 speeches a year at over 200.
He started out from humble beginnings just like me. The small loan of $1 million that he didn't have to pay back.
Colleges and universities, and that was at a time when it was not really vogue to go to colleges and universities if you were a conservative. It really took...
Because Vogue was a magazine.
Great courage. And we used to talk, and I said, you know, I think they're much more conservative than we know, and he agreed, but it just wasn't something that was happening because the radical left would do very bad things, very dangerous things. But
like
Charlie
stand in
set
front
up
of trucks for the ballroom.
2,200 campuses and spoke at more than 1,000 churches. He launched a podcast and radio show that grew to an audience of 1 million Americans a day, one of the bigger shows on radio. And Charlie didn't just bring young people into the movement. All of a sudden, it started to grow by leaps and bounds. By 2024, we won more young people than any Republican candidate in the history of our country, including, for the first time, a majority of males under 30. Can you believe it? Remember when Republican presidential candidates would get 4%? No, we did unbelievably with young people. And he was a big, big factor. Unbelievable. But
He's
he made
big,
me
like
work for it.
10
Sure,
feet tall.
You have to make a speech here, you have to make a speech there. But we did it, and we won, and our country is doing unbelievably well now. We had a country
We're doing so
that
well,
was
everybody.
dead 1 year ago, and now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And
It's getting hotter
Charlie
every year, folks.
helped us make it that.
Because Charlie was
one of
paid
the
by the
great
fossil
people.
fuel industry. So we're doing nothing to stop the fossil
Through it
fuels
all,
heating the planet. We're going to be the
of
hottest.
Charlie's message and his basic method never changed. It never really changed. He stayed the same person also. At every campus event, Charlie asked the people who disagreed with him to come forward, and instead of silencing them, he handed them a microphone and let them speak. And he'd convinced so many of them. It was a pretty amazing thing to watch, actually. Shortly before Charlie arrived on campus, the day he was assassinated, a staff member texted him that there were many critics and students who were opposed to his views, and rather strenuously in the crowd. And that actually made him feel good, because he wanted to convince them. He understood. He really did. He understood what was right. And he was right about that. A lot of it was based on common sense, by the way. Charlie wrote back to the staff member saying, "I'm not here to fight them. I want to know them and love them, and I want to reach them and try and lead them into a great way of life in our country." In that private moment on his dying day, we find everything we need to know about who Charlie Kirk truly was. He was a missionary with a noble spirit and a great, great purpose. He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent.
I gotta be honest.
I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erica. But now Erica can talk to me and the whole group, and maybe they can convince me that that's not right, but I can't stand my opponent.
First of all, who is your opponent? But second of all, like, the tone of this is very Trump casual, and I gotta be honest, I was expecting, like, I was expecting a lot more, like, you know, get him out of here. You know, we gotta rough him up. We gotta, like, I was expecting more of a call to action than, like, I don't know about that. I hate my opponents. You know, like, I understand that. Like, I understand this, but this is like more, he's sleepy and he's just saying things poorly. And I was expecting this to be like the fight, like fire and brimstone. I was expecting fire and brimstone, like, we are going to bring the might of the state down. We are going to, like, I was expecting a lot more, you know, piss and vinegar, I guess. And it's interesting that I'm, like, we're not getting that. Like, even Stephen Miller was very talking around the subject rather than being like, we need to crack down on the radical left, you know. We'll see. It's an interesting
Charlie's
pivot.
angry. Looking down, he's angry at me now. He wasn't interested in demonizing anyone. He was interested in persuading everyone to the ideas and principles he believed were good, right, and true. Before each appearance, he prayed,
Yeah, mostly piss,
these
no
words,
vinegar.
"God, use me for your will." Always said the same thing.
All piss,
Use
no
me for
vinegar.
your will.
Ironically, the name of his P-tape.
And that is exactly what God did. When you think, that's exactly what he did.
What? I'm sorry, I need to hear that again. I was busy thinking about the P-tape joke.
Anyone, he was interested in persuading everyone to the ideas and principles he believed
How
were
many
good,
things
right,
has he
and
called
true.
off this speech?
Before each appearance, he prayed these words, "God, use me for your will." Always said the same thing. Use me for your will. And that is exactly what God did. When you think, that's exactly what he did. The more success Charlie had, and he was getting more and more successful.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk famously wasn't interested in demonizing anyone.
If anything, his P-tape should be called Liquid Gold.
Suck it, thank you for the two tier 1 subs. But like Charlie Kirk called trans people a middle finger to God. Like I'm pretty. I think that constitutes demonization, like quite literally. You know, like fuck, man.
The more dangerous his mission became. On campuses all over the country, his quest for open dialogue was met with
a throbbing middle finger. Sorry, I left out the throbbing.
There were bomb threats, pulled fire alarms, and countless rage-filled radicals who tried to shout him down. It was nasty. I used to say, Charlie, this is nasty stuff you're doing. At one event, police had to build barricades to protect students from an angry mob of thugs. Many of these people, by the way, are paid a lot of money to do this. They're agitators. They're paid agitators. Remember that? When you see they all have the same beautifully printed sign, every sign is identical, comes
Again, the projection is just insane.
out of a top-level print shop.
Like
That's not
Trump
the
was
signs that are made
infamous
in
for
somebody's
hiring
Those are paid
folks for his
by
rallies.
Very bad people, and hopefully we're going to be finding out through the DOJ who those people are. At another college, Antifa terrorists shattered windows, threw rocks, and tried to storm the building where Charlie was speaking. It was a really bad one. Often dozens of police officers were needed to prevent left-wing violence.
Antifa, left-wing
comes
violence.
largely from the left.
That
You
is
don't
just
hear
a
that
lie.
from too many people, do you?
You know, the State Department had to take down their study that they did about rates of left-wing versus right-wing violence because it was very inconvenient to have a study that showed, with all of the data and statistical breakdowns that you could want, that the majority of political violence in the United States is perpetrated by far-right individuals.
And virtually every day for years before he was murdered, Charlie received these horrible death threats. People don't know. I used to talk to him about it. He said, I got some threats. He always felt that when they actually made the threat, they were not the ones to worry about. The ones to worry about were the ones that don't make the threats. And I think you know what I mean. He knew the risk, but he and I shared a certain motto, never back down and never ever surrender. Just don't surrender, never back down. He believed in it so strongly.
Tiny Dynamine, would you say it's effective or instructive to pick a particular cause to get involved with? It doesn't hurt. You know, if you are passionate about LGBTQ plus issues, get involved in that. You know, get involved, like follow what you are passionate about and organize in those arenas. You know, I would just encourage you that if you are involved in a particular cause, figure out a way to link that cause with like political organizing, to be an effective group of advocates in your local community, that can like get involved with, like, I don't know, get the people in your LGBTQ group that you organize with to do door knocking or phone banking for more progressive candidates. You know, get them linked in with being politically active in the community as well.
So strong. And he's right. He's totally right. The radicals and their allies in the media, sometimes referred to, as my son said, the fake news media, tried to silence Charlie for a simple reason, because he was winning, and he was winning big. He was taking over college campuses, colleges that had, in theory, only very liberal, or as they like to say, progressive. I call them liberal, but they like to call themselves, because such a beautiful word, progressive. They're the opposite of progressive, if you think about it.
Oh, so they're conservative. You know, if progress is to move forward and conservatism is to conserve, then like I guess the progressives are the real conservatives, huh?
But they were really nasty. And he would go into these colleges. All of a sudden, within 2 years, 3 years, they turned into bastions of conservatism. It was really quite amazing to see. They lied about him because they did not want you to listen to him or to learn from him, because
He's just
what he
saying
was
things, yeah.
talking about and even preaching.
He's like a malfunctioning
made so
Furby.
much sense everywhere he went.
That's a reference for
He
fellow
won the
millennials.
debates, he won the hearts, he won the minds, and yes, he won the elections for people. He helped us, he helped other people. We won the biggest election in the history of our country, I believe.
Oh my God, he can't even take a funeral to stop bragging about himself. Jesus Christ.
Charlie
Oh
Kirk
my God.
was without a doubt among the most influential figures in the most important election in the history of our country. The election of, that beautiful day, November 5th, 2024. Do you remember that day? It was 9 months ago. What a day that was.
Tamagrouchy.
I mean,
Sake Tanuki, God damn it. Fuck, dudes.
we had a pretty good day in the first one. And I must tell you, on the second one, we had a phenomenal day. But a lot of bad things happened.
Yeah,
And
the
now
real
that's not even a
victim in
question.
all of this is,
They
of course,
cheated
Donald
like
Trump.
dogs. But we got him back, didn't we, huh? Got him back. But we owe Charlie a profound and eternal debt of gratitude now. Just like Charlie and Erica made Turning Point hot, we are
Why does he
looking
keep
at a
saying
country
hot?
that has the chance to
Why?
attain a level
Why are you this way?
like never before. Tariffs are making us rich again, richer than anybody ever thought was possible. And the only one challenging
Are you fucking kidding me? You're still you clowns are still clapping for tariffs like trained seals. They're a unilateral tax. He's bragging about taxing you, you goddamn stupid Republicans.
them are people that hate our country or foreign countries that are paying a price, because they did the same thing to us for years. They took advantage of us, but we're making money. We're becoming richer and richer. And we're taking care of our people better and better when we do that. And we can take care of other.
We're taking care of our people better and better. That's why we cut Medicaid. All right, that's why we're closing down all of those, like rural hospitals. It's because we're taking better care of you. We don't need as many hospitals, folks, because the hospitals we have will be even better. You won't need to go to the hospital when you're in an ambulance for 3 hours, because the ambulance will be your hospital, folks. With all of that money, we're going to be making your lives so much better. Don't look at your bank accounts. Don't look at how much food costs. Don't look at how much every single thing is going to get more expensive. And don't look at how much money the top 1% of this country have compared to the rest of you, okay? It's all getting so much better for you. Trust us, folks.
The country is better and better, but we're doing unbelievably well. The tariffs have really been a hold. The election was big, but the tariffs,
Just
because
put on
of
your
the
workout
election, came in.
jeans.
And remember, other nations do that to us. And Charlie understood that. He saw the money. He saw what was coming into our country, and we can use that for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all.
Yeah, you know, all those things that we are dedicating to cutting. All of those things that we've taken trillions of dollars from. We'll finally be able to fund it by 0.001% with all this tariff money.
Of these things that we fight so hard for.
Fuck
That's
you.
exactly what's happening. The numbers are incredible. When the news finally came out on election night last November that the race was officially won, came out pretty early in the night. Charlie was live on camera. In that moment, he was overcome with emotion. I've never seen him like this. He was so happy. For a long while, he said nothing. His eyes were filled with tears, and then he buried his face in his hands, and he started crying. That wasn't the Charlie I knew, but in thinking about it, it actually was the Charlie I knew, because he had a tremendous heart. He just
Oh my
wanted
God.
what was good for our country, and he saw us going
It wasn't
in
the
such a
Charlie I
horrible
knew,
direction.
but it was the Charlie I
Lovingly,
knew in a
Eric.
different sense.
And this was so beautiful. Erica put a MAGA hat on to cover his bowed head. I like that very much. MAGA, we love. Does everybody love MAGA?
I don't believe any of these stories.
Make America great again.
Big Charlie.
When Joe Biden used to get up, remember
12
the
feet
speeches?
tall.
We will stop MAGA. We will stop MAGA. You know, he could barely get the words out. We will stop. I said, can somebody inform him the MAGA means Make America Great Again? How do you say you're going to stop it?
Why is he still talking about Biden?
And Charlie understood that. When Charlie finally looked up and spoke, he smiled through the watery eyes and simply said, I am humbled by God's grace. That was his statement that night. I was watching him.
How long has he been going? He's been talking for like
actually.
30 minutes.
It showed he had a big heart. Every single American should take a long, hard look at the twisted soul and dark spirit of anyone who would want to kill a young man as good as Charlie. To kill anybody, but to kill a man like this, he didn't deserve this. He didn't deserve this. Our country didn't deserve this. And anyone who would make excuses for it are just out of their mind. Charlie's murder was not just an attack on one man or one movement. It was an attack on our entire nation. That was a horrible attack on the United States of America. It was an assault on our most sacred liberties and God-given rights. The gun was pointed at him, but the bullet was aimed at all of us. That bullet was aimed at every one of us. Indeed, Charlie was killed for expressing the very ideas that virtually everyone in this arena and most other places throughout our country deeply believed in.
Okay, now we're getting to the part of the speech written by Stephen
because
Miller.
Charlie's message has not been silenced. It now is bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and it's not even close. And it's rare that such a thing happens, but Charlie is bigger today than he was. Think about it. Just 2 weeks ago.
He's 15 feet tall now.
Than he was 2 weeks ago. Now,
15
that
feet
may
tall,
not help
folks.
his friends and loved ones, of which there are so many. It may not help Erica and those beautiful children who have to suffer so horribly through this moment, but they know it's true. He's bigger now than ever before, and he's eternal.
Bigger now than when I started his speech.
eternal.
He's 20 feet tall now.
And I just want to say we love him, and he's looking down at us right now, and he's saying, wow, that's a great crowd.
He's looking down on us because he's now 23 feet tall. 23 feet, folks. Just a massive lad.
And it's a great crowd of patriots. But that's why I will soon award Charlie the nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's the highest civilian honor.
All right.
And we will do the ceremony at our beautiful White House in a very safe Washington, D.C., a place that Charlie truly revered. You know, we stopped the crime in Washington, took 12 days. Now you can go to restaurants, you can walk down the middle of the street with your wife. You can have your wife walk alone down the middle of the street. She's going to be in good shape.
But she might get hit by a car because it's a street,
What
folks.
a difference good management really makes. But it's I'm so proud of that Washington, D.C. You know, it was one of the worst in the nation, in the world. And now it's considered a very safe city. And it's also, I passed it yesterday, I went through it, and the lawns are good. It's like a different place. It's like the tents are gone, the threats are gone, the gangs aren't there. We got rid of, we took out 1,500 career criminals, 1,500. If you have 3 career criminals, that can make a big difference. But I'm so proud of Washington, D.C., and now we're going into Memphis. And we'll get that one straightened out fast. And then we're going into some others, but we're going to go to Chicago, and we're going to have Charlie very much in mind when we go into Chicago. And we'll get that one straightened out. You have an incompetent governor who he thinks it's okay.
I'm creating a holiday. We originally wanted to call it Trump Day, but we're going to make December 25th Kirkmas.
Oh, it's so stupid. It's all so stupid. Okay, so now you were gonna go to Chicago, then you weren't, and now you're going to Chicago again. Is he just like forgetting which cities he's threatened. Oh, God. It's so stupid.
When 11 people get murdered over the weekend.
Well, they sent troops to Memphis, Tennessee. They announced that, but now he's threatening Chicago again. All right.
Thinks you don't have any crime when 11 people get murdered and 28 people get shot. He says he's got crime. No, they don't have it under control, but we'll have it under control very quickly. So
why
we're
Memphis?
be doing that
In a red state.
And Charlie loved what we were doing. He was so proud of what happened.
It being in a red state makes it easier to deploy the National Guard for the president, because the governor can basically mobilize the National Guard for Trump. It's a whole thing.
He was there to see it. He's so proud of what happened in Washington, D.C. As you know, the depraved assassin who planned and executed Charlie's killing has been arrested and charged with capital murder. God willing, he will receive the full and ultimate punishment for his horrific crime. It's a terrible thing. Because you can't let that happen. You can't let that happen. Can't let it happen to a country. The Department of Justice is also investigating networks of radical left maniacs who fund, organize, fuel, and perpetrate political violence. And we think we know who many of them are. But law enforcement can only be the beginning of our response to Charlie's murder.
Okay.
Over the last 11 days, we have heard stories of commentators, influencers, and others in our society who greeted his assassination with sick approval, excuses, or even jubilation. You've heard that. So have I. Couldn't believe it. Some of the very same people who spent the last 8 years trying to sit in moral judgment of anyone who disagreed with them about politics suddenly started cheering for a murder. Incredible. You know the names. They're major losers, by the way. That will be proven out in a short period of time. Some of the very people who call you a hater for using the wrong...
Okay, yeah, people criticize you, okay, yeah. But you talked about a law enforcement response, and now you're talking about what exactly?
Pronoun were filled with glee at the killing of a father.
I'm sorry, what?
Major losers, by the way. That will be proven out in a short period of time. Some of the very people who call you a hater for using the wrong pronoun were filled with glee.
I love that the underlying message there is like, oh, if you accidentally called someone the wrong pronoun. But like, as if like conservatives are making like these innocent mistakes. Some conservatives do make those innocent mistakes, but like when people are getting mad about being misgendered, like they're not mad about like the one-off misgendering, All right.
At the killing of a father with 2 beautiful young children. And the same commentators who this week are screaming fascism over a canceled late-night TV show where the anchor had no talent and no ratings. Last week were implying that Charlie Kirk deserved what happened to him.
I don't think that's true at all, actually.
No side in American politics has a monopoly on disturbed or misguided people. But there's one part of our political community which believes they have a monopoly on truth, goodness, and virtue, and concludes they have also a monopoly on power, thought, and speech. Well,
dude, what are you talking about? You have all the branches of government. What are you talking about when you're talking about monopolies of power? Also, yeah, I do think my politics are rooted in a better moral system than yours. Yeah. Yes, actually. I believe in lowering the amount of suffering, and from your actions, it seems like you support increasing it. Like these are diametrically opposed ideologies.
That's not happening anymore. We've turned that corner very quickly. Tragically, atrocities of this kind, and kind that we saw in Utah, of all places, are the eventual consequence of that kind of thinking. If speech is violence, then some are bound to conclude that violence is justified to stop speech.
You were literally talking about arresting
We're
people who
conservative.
criticized
We
you,
don't
man.
use pronouns. We use con-nouns.
The opposite of pronouns. Con-nouns.
And we're not going to let that be justified. The tradition of reason and open debate that Charlie practiced is not a pillar of our democracy. In many ways, it's the basis of our entire society.
That is what is called that's a pillar. That's a fucking pillar, you dipshit. Come on. I'm dying here.
It's the right and inheritance of every free American, the greatest legacy of the Enlightenment, and among the most treasured achievements.
That's cool. Then why did you pressure Jimmy Kimmel to get off the air? Your FCC director threatened the network. What are you talking about? Lying sack of shit.
Of civilization. We will defend it at all costs, and we will carry forward the torch of liberty that Charlie Kirk held so proud and so high. He was so proud, and he did hold that torch high. We will never, ever let it fail. We will never let it fail.
Trump used confusion.
But we're going
It was
to
super
raise
effective.
It's true. That is what he's doing.
higher than ever before. It's going to be raised, and this is the beginning.
It's going to be raised higher than Charlie,
It should be no
who's now
surprise
34
that Charlie, who
feet
spent
tall.
his life speaking with the critics of these traditions, ultimately became convinced that we needed not just a political realignment, but also a spiritual reawakening. We did.
Oh,
We
good.
have to bring
Oh, good. The explicit Christian nationalism coming back. All right.
back religion to America, because without borders, law and order, and religion, you really don't have a country anymore. We want religion
Okay.
brought back to America. We want to bring God back into our beautiful USA like never before. We want God back. Charlie would have been so pleased to hear his friends and colleagues today giving testimony and giving glory to God. Within minutes of the gunshot in Utah, millions of Americans, young and old, heard the news and dropped to their knees and started praying. Even many who rarely prayed asked God for a miracle. Please, God, save Charlie. But although Charlie's time with us on earth has ended, those prayers for a miracle have already been answered. Look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. In the days since Charlie's death, we have seen how his legacy has touched so many millions around the world. In Calgary, Canada, thousands gathered at City Hall to sing the American national anthem and raise up posters with the name Charlie Kirk. In Seoul, South Korea, crowds gathered to wave American flags and shout, "We are for Charlie Kirk." His memory has been honored in the streets of Berlin, Warsaw, Vienna, Sydney, Madrid, London, Tel Aviv, and all over the world. So beautiful to watch. A man as far away as rural Australia texted a pastor, "I'm going to come to church tomorrow for the first time ever."
Oh, just on the front of news about ICE in Chicago and like plans to send troops to Chicago. This might have something to do with it, by the way, folks. This is from earlier today. ICE plans to evacuate Chicago area facility following immigration protests. Y'all remember Kat Abu Ghazaleh, congressional candidate in Chicago, got thrown to the ground by ICE officers the other day. We covered it on Friday. Maybe that's what it is now. Trump is like, we need to deploy the troops to Chicago so that we can stop these pesky protesters from closing down our ICE facilities. Seems likely in my mind. But keep on protesting, folks. Protesting and organizing on the ground works. It works. It's huge.
The pastor asked, "Why is that?" The man replied, "Because of Charlie Kirk." Can you imagine? The lesson of Charlie's life is that you should never underestimate what one person can do with a good heart, a righteous cause, a cheerful spirit, and the will to fight, fight, fight. Have to fight. We're saving our country. And Charlie's a big factor, such a big factor. Charlie Kirk started with only an idea to change minds on college campuses, and instead he ended up with a far greater achievement, changing history. He changed history. Today, Charlie Kirk rests in glory in heaven for all eternity. He has gone from speaking on campuses in Wisconsin to kneeling at the throne of God, where he is right now. We grieve for the friend and leader that we have lost, but we go forward strengthened by his faith and bolstered by his courage and inspired by his example to defend the country he lived for the freedoms he died for, and the values in which he so deeply believed. He believed in values that we should all believe in. Charlie created something very special. It's called Turning Point USA.
Oh, thanks. We never would have figured that out.
Love of Erica.
We never would have fucking figured that one out, bud. Thanks for letting us know. We never would have known what organization was throwing this together.
It will become bigger and better and stronger than ever before. So, Charlie, we all want to thank you. We want to say a very loud God bless you, Charlie. God bless you for what you've done is incredible. And God bless Erica and the children. God bless the United States of America. And could I ask Erica, please come out. Erica, please come out. Thank you.
Oh god. The fucking music, man. What the hell? Genuinely, what the hell? It's the Christian nationalism is insane. It is grotesque, Velvet. It is. This looks comically evil. It does. Imagine, like, whew. I mean, this is going in the history books. Arzost, giving glory to Arzosta. Erzdoska? Can't say it. It's just, we're at the end now. Like, it's just them standing on stage, being viewed. It's the worst kind of performance pandering I've ever seen. It really is. And none of this felt like a funeral, man. It felt like a Turning Point USA rally. It's the boys IRL is another good way of putting it. And like, oh man, it was pretty empty there at the end. All right. God. I am just kind of baffled. You missed the dance. I'm fine.
Look at these tits. Aren't they beautiful? Did I mention I want to bang her?
Jesus. You know, I got some closing thoughts, okay? Which is that, one, does this amp up political tensions on the right? Yes. Okay? But did this like put forward any policies or give like explicit calls for imminent violence? No. Like I'm kind of torn because I was expecting this to be like essentially like a call to do mass political violence at scale, right? Or to like encourage the brown shirt movement to like coalesce to a greater degree. And a lot of this was just doubling down on what conservatives have already been fed and what they've already been talking about in these circles. And my rear end. Yeah, like this was a lot of chest beating. It was a lot of we're powerful, we're in charge. You know, they didn't like Charlie, but it was vague about who they is in a way that like I was expecting this to be the specifics. I was expecting this to be where they specifically wanted people to target. And so I guess in a sense I'm surprised. But it gives me a weirdly perverse feeling of hope, you know? I think that organizing against the fascism here, I think we can win, folks. Like, I think local organizing and continuing to show up and continuing to deny this political movement what it wants, I think that can work. Yeah, it was a lot of we're coming to get you, but like no one specifically, no like new plans being mentioned or brought to the table. Yeah, it was a lot of subtext, like wall to wall subtext of violence and like threats, right? But that's not really that different from how they have been talking in recent months either. I think that this is, you know, it definitely doesn't turn down the political rhetoric or the, you know, political heat. It's definitely concerning, but it's not concerning in the same way that I was ready to see coming in here. Like, I was like, I guess I was expecting a lot more. I was expecting like some concrete calls to action, and we didn't really get those. And Trump was rambly and deranged and hateful, but like in the same way he has been. And I was thinking that this was gonna be like, again, a call to action. And it was not that. The biggest calls to action meaningfully that they had in here were like, join Turning Point USA, join Turning Point USA, join Turning Point USA, etc. You know, I was expecting more vitriol. I was expecting more piss and vinegar, like I said earlier. And I was expecting targets to be named, and like we didn't really get that. Yeah, Jorturth, like my worst fear was that this event was going to be essentially an announcement to organize for a night of mass violence against their political enemies. And thankfully that fear does not seem to have been realized. It's not saying they couldn't make that realized in the future, but this won't be the venue where they announce that, you know? Yeah, I guess my takeaway from that is, you know, these people are getting more and more organized, and folks, you need to get organized to keep yourselves and your communities safe. Because these people, this fascist movement is going to try to come to your town with the National Guard at their beck and call, with ICE or DHS or all these different agents to try and disappear members of your community. And you need to get organized in order to get like your sheriff's department not to cooperate with ICE when they come knocking, or to get city ordinances that protect LGBTQ people. You need to like get to work on doing these things, because they're going to come, and having those legal that legal framework in place or those laws in place to prevent some of this action could mean the difference between people being snatched up and people being safe. And so I think folks need to organize. You know, you need to organize. You need to organize. You need to organize. And if it's organizing in your local library or your local LGBTQ center or your local, like, your local DSA or your local Democrats or your local homeless shelter, whatever, get organized. And we have resources in this community that can help you organize with your local Dems or your local DSA. You can do that by joining our Discord, and you can reach out to Gamergy for help joining your local DSA, and you can reach out to Dragonfly for help joining your local Dems. We need you to do this because we all need to get in this together, because we are, whether we like it or not in power right now. And we need to deal with that. We need to figure out how we are going to organize so that we are ready to both keep our communities safe and also so that we are ready to organize and mobilize for the democratic process about a year from now. Okay? Because that's going to be really important. And I know a lot of people in the comments on these videos that I put together type away about how, like, oh, you guys think you're going to be able to vote your way out of this, dipshits? And it's like, no. But that's part of it. If you want to preserve and fix a democratic system, that's going to be part of it. And for fuck's sake, if you want to preserve democracy, then you have to be able to mobilize people to be willing to vote. If you can't do that, then you can't organize people to do more. Voting is literally the easiest thing you are asked to do. And it's one of the hardest things to organize, to get people to do. So we need to organize now so that we are ready for all different kinds of scenarios that may come up in the future. But number one, we organize for our immediate safety. Number two, organize to better our local communities. And number three, we organize to participate electorally. But those first two are really fucking important. Those are the most important things to do. And, it is a distant concern in the, next year. As we get closer to these elections, it will become a bigger concern. But the primary reasons to get mobilized right now are to project local power and get local protections and keep ourselves safe. Because if we want to take seriously the project of building power, like Turning Point USA does, like billionaires in this country do, we need to take this seriously and we need to do the work. Okay? And that is, your homework assignment. Figure out how you're going to engage with your local community in a way that is going to build up local political power. It's really fucking important. And it might mean the difference between people being able to remain housed on cold winter nights or have air conditioning on hot summer days. It could mean the difference between life and death for some people in your community, or freedom and depression for some people in your community. So get organized, because we might not have money, but we do have one thing that the billionaire class needs from us, and that is our labor. And we can use that labor to build a better world. So that being said, there we go. There you have it. Those are my closing thoughts.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight